Yes, sir, man. Is y'all ready? It's time for the college football pick'em. But week 2, man, we're gonna get into some top matchups this week. I think there will be better weeks ahead for sure. We do got some top ranked matchups, but we're gonna all break them down and get my thoughts on who I'm taking, man. So y'all comment below on the pick'em who you taking in these matchups. Let's start with Georgia Tech versus Syracuse. Now, Syracuse gave up over 240 yards in a win against Ohio in the rushing attack. Georgia Tech has one of the top rushing attacks in the country. They can run the ball. They ran for over 200 plus yards against Georgia State, 190 against Florida State. This team wants to run the rock. Now, Trey Cooley's not going to be in this game because he has an injury, but still expect for them to run the ball. They use their weapons in a multitude of ways. We see Eric Singleton Jr. had a reverse for a touchdown. They're going to find ways to run the ball. So, obviously, it'll be Jamal Haynes, and it'll be interesting to see who the second guy will be. I'm not sure if Chad Alexander's going to play, but if not him, it's going to be that freshman, Anthony Carey, who had 4 rushes for 41 yards in their last one. Nonetheless, I am taking Georgia Tech to come out on top. 28-14 in this one. I know they have a lot of dynamic playmakers, obviously for Syracuse and Trevor Pena. But it's going to be interesting if Georgia Tech can slow them down. They got to get some pressure on the quarterback, Kyle McCord, because he lit up Ohio last week with over 300-plus yards passing. I think Georgia Tech will be up for the battle. I'm taking the Yellow Jackets. All right, the next one. This should be a good one. Tennessee versus NC State. There's a lot of buzz about Nico Alemileva, as you guys can see. And even Urban Meyer thinks he's going to lead them to the college football playoff. I'm going to hold serve first on that before I say all that. I do want to check this game out, though. This will be a good one when they play NC State with Grayson McCall. Now, NC State struggled in their first game a little bit. So I am going to go on the road. I'm going to roll with Tennessee. I'm going to actually try to watch this game. I have not seen Nico in person yet or on TV, but I'm going to check this game. I know they beat Tennessee Chattanooga pretty good. This will be a more comparable opponent in the ACC, but I'm going to roll with Tennessee with the win. I think Nico will have a good game, and I think he's going to make his claim, and he might mess around and he keeps with this hot start. Could enter in kind of that Heisman conversation, but we're going to wait to see, and then we'll comment after, but I'm going to go with Tennessee. All right, the really good game, man. Texas versus Michigan. You can't get no better than this, man. Quinn Ewers, that talented receiving core that they have with Isaiah Bond and the speedsters. Defense looks pretty good. This is one of the best matchups. The only thing I be hating about the Big Ten and sometimes with Fox, they have the premier game is at noon. Why? I'm not even gonna be able to fully watch this game. I'm gonna have to put multi-view on because I gotta watch my Georgia Tech game to do the coverage and the results for that. And then this one's on at the same time. Why is this not a primetime game? That amazes me. Top end Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan, Northwestern, or not even that. Michigan versus Penn State. It's always at this time. This should be night game. But nonetheless, Michigan did struggle a little bit. Defense got it together. But I'm going to go with Quinn Ewers. I'm going to go with the Longhorns, baby. I think they come out on top. I think it'll be a good game, but Texas pulls away in the second half. I'm rolling with the Longhorns. All right, another rivalry in state, Iowa versus Iowa State. Iowa has been winning for a while. Key question again this year. And as you guys can see with the FPI, they're giving them a 71% chance to win. Can they score on offense? That's the key. Defensively, they're going to be good again. They're going to be elite. Can they score on offense? Remains to be seen. But I'm still going to go ahead and roll with Iowa Hawkeyes to come out on top. I think defense is going to be too much for Iowa State. They continue to win in this rivalry that they got with their in-state Iowa State. And they come out on top, man. I'm rolling with the Hawkeyes. All right, let's look at a couple more matchups. We got Oklahoma State versus Arkansas. I'm going to roll Oklahoma State with Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon rushing attack going to be a little too much for them to handle. I got them coming out on top. Another one I'm really excited for, Auburn versus Cal. The receivers tore it up in the first game, man. Malcolm Simmons, Perry Thompson, Cam Coleman. Man, they all had a touchdown. They all had over 50-plus yards receiving. I'm telling y'all, man, it's not Peyton Thorne ain't going to have to do too much, man. And defensively, they should be just fine. They should be able to create pressure on the quarterback. I'm rolling with Auburn in this one. The Tigers, they should come out on top and beat Cal. I think they win by 2+ touchdowns. All right, another big rivalry is going to be this one right here on ABC. South Carolina versus Kentucky. It's a nice little rivalry between those two teams. Obviously, but yes, Kentucky got Brock Vandagriff, man. I think he's going to throw for over 250, 300 yards in this game. I think they hold serve. I think they blow out South Carolina. No disrespect to the Gamecocks. They struggled against Old Dominion. 23-19 victory. And then their true freshman quarterback, I know it's going to take time for him to get adjusted, Lenore Sellers, he was 10 of 23. Now, he did run it well, had 68 yards rushing. Raheem Sanders ran it pretty well with 80 yards and a touchdown. but I don't think they're going to be able to hold serve. I mean, to beat Kentucky, you're going to have to be able to throw that football. I don't think they can do it, so I'm rolling with Kentucky to come out on top. Now, this one right here, this is some must-see TV. I'm not even going to lie to you. NBC cooked with this one, and I think they're going to get a lot of viewership, man. Who don't want to see Deion Sanders and obviously Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter on national television, right? They've obviously been featured last Thursday, but this one, I think, is one of the best games we're going to see on week 2. I really do, because I think it's going to be back and forth. On the other side of things with Nebraska, you got to worry about, obviously, Dylan Raiola. He had a pretty good start, 19-27, 200-plus yards passing, a couple touchdowns through one of the Isaiah Nayor, who had 121 yards and a touchdown. I just think Nebraska got a little bit more, man. This is a tough game for Colorado, man. And then it's going to be that college atmosphere. I'm not saying they haven't played in that. They have, but you got to think about this. Like, the excitement coming out of Nebraska, out of Lincoln. This game is in Lincoln. Like, they've been waiting for years to be relevant. They've been waiting for years to be back to what they used to be back in the old days. I think the crowd, it's going to be a lot, man. And for Colorado, it can't just be the Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn show. You need other people to step up. What I will say, though, is the defense stepped up in the second half in that game, obviously, against North Dakota State. They cannot fall behind, right? Defense has to play full-fledged for, the whole game, right? You cannot help them get it right. And like I said, it's a lot to put on Shedeur and tell him, oh, man, we got to score every time out. That's a lot. You're not going to score every single possession. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. No matter how confident in things like you are, hey, I get it. But that is tough to do, man. So, with that being said, I'm going to roll with Nebraska with the win at home. I think you get an electric game, probably a shootout, maybe a 38-35 victory for Nebraska. Should be close, but going with the Cornhuskers for the dub. All right, y'all. So, a couple more before we wrap up the college pick-up for week 2. Down below, Appalachian State versus Clemson. Clemson should be able to get it together for this one. ACC Network. I think they're going to run the ball with Phil Maffa, obviously. Got to see more from K. Klubnik. They didn't look good. And if I'm Clemson, like I said, you got to play your young guys, right? You got to play Bryant Westco. Antonio Williams had a pretty good game, but you got to play your key players. Like, you can't wait. If you're going to not go into the transfer portal, you got to develop your guys and play them early. So that's one of the key things with Clemson. And I thought this is a national contending defense. Like, it was 6-0. 6-0 at half, right? But the offense didn't help them out at all. If the offense helps them more in that game, I think you can see Clemson putting off the upset. So for a half, I technically was right, but offense didn't do nothing. So that's why I lost. They got to get it together, honestly. But I'm rolling with Clemson Tigers. They should come out on top. All right, last but not least is this one right here, Oregon versus Boise State. I'm rolling with Oregon. I know they struggled in the first game. That's why they kind of fell a little bit below in the AP poll, man. But they should handle business with Boise State. We know how good of a team they are in the Mountain West. But I still believe in Dylan Gabriel. I still believe in Tej Johnson. They should have a pretty good game, man. They at home. They in Oregon. They should come out on top, man. They struggle with Idaho a little bit, but I think they hold serve to get back and win a pretty big game, man. So that is the Week 2 matchup, some of the best ones we have in the country. Those are my game picks. Comment below what you think. If I got them right, let me know which ones I missed.